Well, I mean, it's not that early, to be honest. It's almost midday. Okay, I am doing this on my phone because last time we had some issues with the live stream and it wasn't streaming that well. So hopefully this time we should solve those problems. But hey guys, I've missed you. I'm so excited to be here. It is yet another month that has passed, and I know that all of you have really just started to get the ball rolling when it comes to English. So, just quick disclaimer: like if it's not even a disclaimer, if you guys see any issues with me filming on my phone, please let me know. Just comment for me, and then I can like switch the rotation or if anything's wrong because I can't actually tell. Okay, so are you guys typing messages? Because I can't see your messages, which is really weird. Anyways, I'll kind of let that sort itself out because today we're talking about text response and I'm going to make this sort of a quick one, so half an hour. So let's just get all of our questions in. Hello! And basically what I did was, hi Ala, before this live stream started, I emailed all of my subscribers on my mailing list and basically had a huge influx of questions. So I think I'm actually going to start off there. If you guys are not on the mailing list, then I highly recommend you sign up. All you need to do is go into the description box below and there will be a sign up link. It's completely for free, but basically I release new resources every single week and keep you updated with the latest advice basically. So you know that I make YouTube videos and I create blog posts and just so many more resources that it can only really help you when it comes to VC English. So go ahead and check that out. So basically I'm going to start off with one of my subscribers. Her name is Nikki, and Nikki asks, how do you structure a text response? So I think my straightforward answer is, you know, you have your typical introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. I want you guys to know that by the time you are in year 11 and year 12, it's okay to step beyond this template that you've been taught all the way from year 7. And I know for a lot of us, we feel uncomfortable, you know, we feel uncomfortable steering away from what we've been taught or from the norm. But actually, once you get comfortable enough, you should really start to kind of stretch beyond your comfort zone. So if that means like doing 4 body paragraphs because you've got 4 really good ideas, then do that instead. I know this one's a little bit controversial, but some people don't even do conclusions because they want to spend time focusing on like their 3rd paragraph or their 4th paragraph, and that has actually been okay. So yeah, I just want you guys to know that. In regards to, yeah, I'm just going to stop there. I'm trying to do this thing where I'm being a little bit more concise with my answers. Okay, so the next question actually comes from, I'm just looking down at my laptop. So I think this is a really great question. Simon asks, hi Lisa, I find it difficult in text response essays to create 3 distinct ideas, one for each paragraph, that is still connected to each other and to the prompt. Any idea on how to fix this? Yes, so this one is a common struggle, which is why I wanted to answer it. So I think a good way to start off is try the yes, no, but essay structure. I've done videos on this in the past, so if you wanted to go and have a look at that, I'll link it down there later on. But basically when it comes to writing body paragraphs for prompts, what we really need to ensure is that each body paragraph can stand on its own. So it is an individual idea, yet they don't overlap and they basically say the same thing. So, hi Kelly. A good way to ensure that this happens is definitely always start with planning. Okay, and the other thing I would do when you plan is literally just write down all of your ideas. Even if you know, like, okay, I'm going to organize it into 3 body paragraphs, doesn't matter, write down all of your ideas. Why? Because you'll start to find that afterwards, when you start grouping them and kind of saying, okay, this idea kind of seems the same as this idea, then you can start to eradicate that overlap and hopefully minimize the number of ideas down to 3 very coherent and unique ideas. So that's just something that I would try to do, but it does take practice. And I feel like sometimes it's only once you've done a few practice essays at home and you're like, oh, halfway through a body paragraph, you realize, crap, I'm saying the same thing as what I just said before. So yeah, try planning and just splurging, like just getting all your ideas out there and then minimizing them from there. Cool. So the next is, okay, and these are all from the mailing list. How do I incorporate quotes and the best way to identify quotes worth writing about? So this is from Illis. Oh, Ilias? I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So how to incorporate quotes, I'll chuck a link to another video I've done in the past. I just want to repeat the same information for you guys, especially if you're a regular viewer. And the second bit was the best way to identify quotes worth writing about. So one, obviously there are really common quotes, the ones that are on basically all of your Schmoop and your Spark notes out there. Those are the ones that typically are really good, but they're overused. So unless you can say something a little bit original about them, like have a unique interpretation of them, something that gives it like a you flavor, rather than just repeating what everyone else say, I would maybe try to avoid those, because you can typically try to find quotes that are just as good but not as commonly used. So when it comes to trying to find quotes, what I steer towards are not necessarily dialogue, but trying to find meta language. So if it's a metaphor about nature, or if it's a simile, or if it's a personification, and that reveals more about the theme or the idea or a character, then that's what I'm going to go for, because I feel like if you're already starting to talk about meta language and literary techniques, you're already one step ahead of everyone else. Yay! Cool. Oh, guys, it's so hot today. Why didn't I put a fan in here? What are y'all doing today? Okay, I'm gonna have a look at your messages and see what you guys have been saying. So, this is a funny question. I like it. So, CK007DC says, oh, I always have to like, okay. I always have to tap the screen to make sure the messages come back up. So, hey Lisa, do you have any questions for improving handwriting legibility other than just purposely practicing and for writing faster while still being legible? Okay, so quick tip, just find a better pen, okay? So if you're somebody who, like, you're always being told that your handwriting is really difficult to read, the easiest fix up is to try to find a pen that suits your writing style. So let's just say that you group your letters together quite a bit and it's just like one big clump of writing that no one can understand. Try to find a really fine pen. Simple as that. That's just an easy fix for you. You can try using different pens. Like when I was in school, I tried to find pens that glided really easily, because that helped me speed up my actual writing itself, but that's not necessarily true for everyone. So yeah, just go to Officeworks, buy like a few different pens that you like. My favorite pen is the Muji pen. So that's like, I think there's an Emporium and a Chadston one, and they're like what, $2-3 for a pen, and I think they're ink pens, and I just think they're amazing. So I would do that, and then other than that, write on every second line. This is something that a lot of examiners prefer anyway, and teachers prefer, so that they can actually mark your writing in between like the lines because you've left them space. But by separating your sentence, like by writing on every second sentence, it also helps to just like not like helps the reader not feel overwhelmed with what they're seeing, and yeah, somehow it just improves your legibility. Oh, sorry, I just like shoved my finger in your face. Mary wanted the same question, so that's cool. Um, Aisha says, can you bring outside sources to support your argument in a text response? So I'm not 100% sure what you mean by outside sources, but I'm just going to assume that you mean things that aren't part of the book, right? So I would say no if you want to stay on the safe side. So um, it, no means, oh, like what kind of external stuff would you be writing about? Um, maybe I should answer that in a different way. What could you potentially write about if it was kind of external? So what you could start looking at is the author, like where sorry, I think it's early in the morning, so I haven't fully woken up. Where did the author when did the author live, in like what period, what were their views and values, and how does that impact the actual text? So that is something that is okay to talk about as an external source because it wasn't actually completely from the book. But because when we do text response, we're talking about the author's messages and the takeaway meaning from it, we need to be able to understand the author's views and values. So what they endorse, what they criticized. So that is okay. But anything beyond that, you know, talking about any other books that they wrote or, yeah, I don't know, not okay. If you grab information about that particular period in time, so let's just say if you're doing, uh, what's a good book I can talk about? Oh, like just like Medea, you all do it pretty much. So if you're doing Medea, then yes, you can talk about like the patriarchy and what the Greek audience was like at that time and what were their views and values, because that's kind of like external, but it helps to expand your understanding of the text. So that's okay. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, Ala asks a great question. How should I budget my time in essays when I have 60 minutes? That's a great question. And I feel like so many of you have this issue, and I'm really excited because I'm working on something behind the scenes to actually help you guys with ensuring that you manage to write your essays within the 60 minutes with time to spare, which for a lot of people is just something unfathomable and something that sometimes cannot even be attained even at the end of the year. But I'm going to basically working on something a little bit secret, that maybe I'll be releasing soon, and I can't wait to show you guys. But until then, I think just practice incremental exercises. So break up your essays into chunks. So, you know, 5 minutes for planning, 5 minutes for introduction, 10 minutes for your body paragraph, etc. Practice having smaller goals throughout your essay so that way you can aim for 60 minutes with the whole lot. Whereas if you just kind of sit down and go, oh, I've got an hour for this and I've got 60 minutes, let's just do it, then you kind of lose track of time if you're not actually thinking, okay, by the time 15 minutes is over, I need to have both my planning and my introduction done. Need to move on. You know what I mean? Cool. Etin says, damn, I start uni on Monday. I remember watching your stuff last year. Hey, thanks for being here. You can also check out my other channel if you want to continue watching my stuff. It's more about like my personal life and business. So yeah, that's called Lisa Tran. Very original. Okay. Thanks for the questions, guys. I like your questions. I'm so sorry if I'm like shaking the camera as I'm going through this. Okay. Molly says, I need help with the golden age. The golden age is coming out soon. Don't worry. So, one thing with this entire year is I'm just generally focusing on text response a lot more because there are a lot more new texts out there and there just aren't enough resources. So, if you're doing anything like golden age, extinction, what else? Rear window, uh, any of like the reading and comparing one, like tracks and Invictus, they're all going to come out really soon. So please just wait and I will have them out for you. I've already written up all the scripts for them. So yeah, just keep your eye out, okay? Don't worry, I'm thinking about you guys and I know that there are not enough resources for your texts. So don't worry, they're all coming out soon. Cool. Do I look like weird when I'm like, what are the next questions? Oh, okay. Okay, awesome. So is Saturday mornings a good time for you guys? Because I feel like either people are out doing stuff or, you might be sleeping in because it's a weekend. So please comment and let me know so that I can kind of figure it out. Otherwise, I think the usual time is Friday after schools. Schools? No, you just go to one school, don't you? Yeah, so Friday after school. So just let me know what works. Okay, cool. So Molly asks, anything else? I always see people having heaps of different colored tabs in their novels. The reason why they have different colored tabs in the novels is because usually they're grouping their quotes or important passages according to themes. That's pretty much it. So I have an example for you. I think I do. So, different colored tabs. Just because, blue might stand for one particular theme, and then that's where I've like tabbed the ones that are most like prominent or themes that I want. Oh, sorry, quotes that I want to use, passages. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I got this secondhand. Okay. Hi, Hannah. Yeah, I think I prefer Fridays as well. No worries, Molly. My absolute pleasure. Oh, by the way, like sometimes some of you come to me in the city because that's usually when you see me when I'm in the city, and some of you come up to me, which is amazing, and you guys are like, "Hey." So yeah, I highly appreciate it whenever you do come up to me. I'm sorry if I'm awkward. I'm like, "Hey," because like I'm not used to people knowing me. You know what I mean? So, but don't be afraid. Please come up and say hi. I really appreciate it, and I'd love to just have a chat with you and see how you're going in English and just VC in general. Usually, I'm in the city, just kind of either like I've done a bit of tutoring or I'm just hanging out. So yeah, don't stress. Like most of the time, I'm not in a rush or anything. So yeah, and I'm so sorry if I keep touching my hair. It's because it's so hot. I'm looking forward to that cool change. Okay. So I've got another question. Do you advise doing the contention verse? Yes, absolutely. Like, there's no point in you kind of starting to write an essay or starting to do a paragraph or anything like that before you've actually done your contention, right? Because the whole point is, if you don't know your contention, you're either going to go off topic, you're not going to answer the question, or you're just going to do a really poor job at it. So, understanding what your viewpoint is really important in English. And I think this is something that like a lot of people don't really put enough emphasis on. So I feel like the people who do really well in English are the ones who are opinionated and they articulate that. And it's okay for you to say something that's, a little bit controversial or something that's not in the norm of what everyone else would say, because your essay is going to stand out. Of course, you don't just kind of go ahead and just be controversial for the sake of being controversial. You still need to support your evidence and still need to do a good job at it. But yes, your contention is incredibly vital to the life of your essay. See how I just used a metaphor there? Okay, awesome. So, I've only got a few more minutes, so if you guys wanted to ask your final questions, then please go ahead and do so while you guys ask your questions. I'll let you know what I'm doing today. So, I'm actually tutoring for, I think, 1, 2, 3 hours straight in the city in the afternoon, and that's because I'm going away. I'm going away to Vietnam and Cambodia, and so I had to like reorganize my students and try to do like extra sessions so that they didn't miss out on anything while I was gone. So be seeing them, and then I'm catching up with my high school friends this afternoon, and it's been 10 years since we graduated, so it's kind of like a 10-year reunion, which is absolutely crazy. I know I don't look that old, but I am, and I love it. Whatever. I'm embracing my age. And then afterwards, just hanging out with another group of friends that I always hang out with. Okay. So Amir says, I have my first SAC next week on like a house on fire. Do you have any tips? I've got videos coming out really soon about creative writing, so hopefully that will be in time for you. Okay. Do we incorporate meta language within body paragraphs to support our arguments, says Emily. Yes, you do. I have a video on that as well if you wanted to watch it so you can have details on it. But absolutely, your meta language essentially counts as like replacement quotes. Think of it that way. It's another form of evidence. So instead of just quoting people talking the entire time, why not try to find meta language that you can quote? So meta language encompasses anything from your imagery to from narrator perspective, like point of view, to incorporating a shift in perspective, to documents, to prose, to whatever, similes, personification. That's usually the standard stuff. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. CK007DC says, hey Lisa, in Frankenstein they talk about other texts. This is relevant to all of you no matter what text you're doing. So they talk about Paradise Lost and other texts. Is it okay to talk about them? So here's a good tip if you are studying any text and you see that they reference other texts. Okay? So if somewhere inside the book the character is reading a book, right? Often the book that they're reading has been purposely chosen for a reason. So if I wrote a book and my character is reading Frankenstein, it's not just like he or she is not just reading Frankenstein just because I'm like, oh, whatever, I just can't think of a book, I'm just gonna like throw one out there because it's in front of my face. Usually the book that they're reading is supposed to reflect whatever they're thinking or feeling, and it should emphasize like a certain theme. So have a think about, like, have a bit of a research to see what the themes and basically what is the plot of that text that's being read by the character, or has been cited by the character, and then see if you can link that to your actual text, because I can guarantee you that you're going to find something really good to analyze there. Yeah, great question. That's awesome. No worries, Emily, my pleasure. Okay, I'm going to do one more question. Lucky last question. Who doesn't want to be? I mean, what? What am I even saying? Who wants to be the lucky last question? There's like a couple of really long questions, so I'm really quiet. I'm trying to read them and understand them. Oh, okay, this is a good question. So we'll finish off with Mary's question. Isn't text response about understanding what the author is trying to communicate? Yes, yes it is, via characters and symbols. That's their views and values. So what they're endorsing or what they're criticizing, that's why they've written the book. How much of your own views can you really incorporate into the essay? So when you answer a prompt, often it's your understanding of the prompt. And so you kind of incorporate both like what the author is trying to say and your understanding of what the author is trying to say. Like if you think of it as, oh, how do we say this? Like think of two lenses, right? The book is written through the author's lens, how they see things. Then when you read it as a reader, you have to not only go through the author's point of view to understand that particular book, but you bring your own like understanding of the world and your own views and values. So say for example, with Euripides, which a lot of you are doing, Medea, there's this argument of whether or not Euripides is a misogynist, so basically hating women, or a feminist, like a proto-feminist. So, supporting women and feeling that they should have more rights before even the term feminism was coined, because this was so long ago. So we don't actually know what Euripides was saying, or personally, like I can't quite figure it out, because I can see both. I can see how people could interpret him as a misogynist and a feminist. So I think if you were viewing it as an audience back then, you probably would have been an ancient like Greek man. So you would have been like in a patriarchy and used to, women not having power and women being docile. So you would have interpreted potentially as a play that was more misogynist. Whereas now, when we look at the play, being that we're in the 21st century, feminism is something that has been discussed so many times in the media, especially, in the past like few years even. It has completely changed, or not completely changed, but it has changed the way that we see things and the way that we interpret the book. So yeah, there's a bit of a combination of both, and at the end of the day, you are the person who's answering the prompt. So it does still come down to your view of what the author is saying. Hope that makes sense. Cool. Okay. So I think that's just where I'm going to leave it today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe to my mailing list. That's my website, literally there actually. How funny, it's just in the background. So you guys can check out, my mailing list. Like if you sign up, because I'll give you free advice every single Monday. So who wouldn't want that? I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys really soon. I think that's about it. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for being here. You guys are the best. Yay! Let's go out into the hot weather and die now.